Honestly, I'm just glad that not all of the movies I watched as a kid were complete and utter trash. Are you an everyday nerd? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next episode. Yo, welcome to Everyday Nerd, the show we listen up. It's my birthday, so in honor of me still being alive for 23 years, I know it's been tough to stay alive that long. I need you to subscribe to this channel and watch this video through its entirety. Thank you. I'm your host, Zack Snyder, and today's Monday Nostalgia. Happy Monday. On Mondays, we take a look back at my childhood, and today it just so happens to be my birthday, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to go back and look at some of my favorite movies from when I was a kid, which also happen to be good, and are still on my list of favorite movies of all time. I didn't like all trash when I was a kid. The first film is probably my favorite Disney movie. Beating out my other favorites, Beauty and the Beast and the Aristocats, is Alice in Wonderland. This is, of course, the original 1951 animated film, not the live-action 2010 film featuring Johnny Depp. Unfortunately, that one I don't care for. I don't really like Johnny Depp. There's just something about the original Alice in Wonderland that I've always loved. It's extremely creative, it features iconic characters, the music's not quite as good as many other Disney films, but it's not really a musical, and my favorite thing is just how nonsensical it can get. In many respects, Alice in Wonderland is a very trippy film. You would probably feel really happy watching this on drugs, but even without drugs, it makes you question the reality of its world. Everything from the Cheshire Cat to the rabbit who's always late, and especially the Mad Hatter, makes absolutely no sense, and yet these are the most defining characters of the film. The movie does such a good job of having everything and nothing happen in the span of its hour and 15-minute runtime. If for some reason you're not familiar with this film, Alice is a somewhat stereotypical Victorian girl who finds herself bored one morning while with her older sister. All of a sudden, she notices a white rabbit with a pocket watch, deciding that he's late for a very important date.
Oh, my fearing whiskies! I'm late!
She follows him in the rabbit hole, and this is when she finds herself transported in another world. Wait, is Alice in Wonderland actually an isekai anime? What happens then is over an hour of absolute nonsense. There's a doorknob that cries and floods a shrunken Alice, a cat that disappears randomly, a caterpillar who's probably enjoying some really good kush, an actually insane person, and a queen who wants to
What's their heads?
Like I said, there's not much sense to this movie, but that's what I love about it. It's a scattered mess, yet the pacing is overall pretty good due to the fact that Alice is always moving forward, never spending time in a place for too long, and leaving us right at the point of maximum confusion before thrusting us into a new scenario with even more confusion. I think my favorite part of the film is when Alice encounters Tweedledee and Tweedledum, two characters that I really don't care too much about, but it's the story that they end up telling that I love so much. The story being The Walrus and the Carpenter, which is a short passage out of a different Lewis Carroll book about a walrus and a carpenter who asks some oysters to go on a walk with them, only for the walrus to decimate all of them. It's a story of love, a story of loss, and honestly, it's just funny as hell. But what I love about it is essentially we end up halting the entire movie for a cartoon short. And this short is just long enough for us to almost forget that it's a part of a bigger whole, that whole being the overall movie. It fits really well within the wacky narrative, which is what I appreciate about it so much. Interestingly enough, the wacky dream of a girl finding herself in another world is the same narrative for another one of my favorite movies of all time, The Wizard of Oz.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
Released in 1939, it's no surprise that The Wizard of Oz is considered to be one of the best films of all time. For the two of you that have never seen it, the plot follows Dorothy Gale, a farm girl from Kansas who finds herself and her dog, Toto, trapped in a tornado. After she wakes up, she is transported into the land of Oz, a colorful, nonsensical world of witches, sentient scarecrow and tin man, talking lions, and a wizard who is a lying piece of There's so much that I love about this film. The music is especially great, specifically the iconic Somewhere Over the Rainbow. The performances by Judy Garland and the rest of the main cast are all fantastic. The switch from black and white to Technicolor is just a spectacle now, but was surely mind-blowing to the audience in 1939. What's extremely interesting is that this movie went through production hell. It had a lot of different writers with multiple directors taking control. At the end of the day, it's a shock that this movie even turned out well. One of my favorite parts of the film is the wizard's gifts. While trying to find the Wizard of Oz to take her back home, Dorothy comes across a scarecrow who wants a brain, a tin man that wants a heart, and a lion that wants courage. After they all find the wizard and realize that he's a dirty con man that doesn't deserve any of the riches he has.
You're a very bad man.
Sorry, rant over. After they find the wizard, he gives each of them a gift that doesn't really do anything. Yet, like any good placebo, they give each of the characters the confidence that they needed to appreciate and use the traits that they already had. The Scarecrow was already always smart, the Tin Man always cared about others, and the Lion was always courageous. They just needed someone to believe in them, and while ultimately it's the wizard that gives them these fake gifts that help them gain confidence, it's really Dorothy that ends up believing in them throughout the film. Which is why at the end, she was able to say there's no place like home and wake her ass up from bed because it was all a dream. Or a concussion. I think she probably had a concussion if she really was in a tornado, unless that was part of the dream also. Honestly, there's no telling. But fortunately, the final movie in this episode wasn't a dream. It's still pretty nonsensical, but this time everything happens in a magical chocolate factory. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, again, not the Johnny Depp version, I don't know why he has to infiltrate all of my favorite movies, is yet another children's book adaptation released in 1971 about a boy named Charlie who receives a golden ticket to visit Willy Wonka's chocolate factory with 4 other characters and their +1. Unbeknowingly to the children, Willy Wonka is looking for a replacement, and their time in the factory is used as a test to determine which child will eventually inherit it. In this time, we see a child who contaminates a chocolate river only to then be sucked away in a pipe, a child who becomes a large blueberry after chewing some experimental gum, a child who is determined to be a bad egg after she declares that she wants to buy the factory, which gets her sent to the furnace, and a child who teleports himself into a television set. I love this movie for so many different reasons. I love the creativity of the chocolate factory with its intricate sets and clever use of candy. I love each of the characters and how their personal character flaws are translated into their mistakes in the factory. I love the rags to riches story of Charlie and his family. But most of all, I love Gene Wilder's performance. He's amazing throughout the entire film, but my favorite scene has always been at the very end when Charlie and his grandpa Joe think that they've won a lifetime supply of chocolate when Wonka tells them that they get nothing because they stole fizzy lifting drinks earlier in the movie.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized, so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
But after Charlie is selfless and gives Wonka back a piece of candy that he was given earlier in the film, Wonka tells him that he is the winner and that he passed the true morality test, gifting to him the entire factory. The elevator scene at the end of the movie is also pretty good. I love pretty much everything about this movie along with Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland. Each of them feature childlike wonder in a fantastical world, yet they still appeal to adults, and that's something that a lot of children's films can't really do. It's a shame really, because so many children's films try to pander towards children, making flat characters, painfully obvious morals, and plots that can be predicted in the first few minutes. But these 3 films do such a great job of being a great film, first and foremost. They never pander towards children, yet children and adults both love them because of the imagination and creativity put into them. And at the end of the day, it's the creativity that puts these 3 at the top of my list of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, I guess I'm a sellout now.
Today's episode of Your Everyday Nerd is brought to you by Awesome Creator Academy. YouTube and entrepreneurship is not easy. It's a long road of trial and error, hard work, and perseverance. But things can become easier if you get yourself into a mentorship group, and this is where Awesome Creator Academy comes in. I've personally been a part of the Awesome Creator Academy group for over a year now, and not only has it helped me be better focused and make more realistic goals, but it's put me in a place with other creative professionals that want to succeed just as much as I do. It's a place where I go to share my successes, my failures, and everything in between, and I highly recommend it. For $59 a month, you get a ton of value. You get access to private Q&A sessions with entrepreneur Roberto Blake, exclusive training videos and resource lists, early access to templates and courses, group mastermind conferences, and my personal favorite, access to a private Facebook group with people who are working just as hard as you are. Check out the details in the link below to get started, and if you do decide to sign up, you'll be helping support your everyday nerd. That's all the time we have for today. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you didn't, for whatever reason, you can hit that dislike button. Let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts on these 3 movies were and what your favorite movies of all time are. I just wanted to use today's being my birthday as an excuse to talk about these 3 films instead of talking about them in individual videos because they work so well together, which is kind of funny, and I never thought about that until I started working on the script. Anyways, go ahead and subscribe for more Everyday Nerd, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.